Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph LaBella.
And I'm Ron Sen. In his masterclass, film director Ron Howard says, in every project you'll find heartbreak. Only 11 months after a triumphant exit as general manager of the World Series champion Boston Red Sox, Dave Dombrowski is out on the street. And the problem, as always, is player accountability. Dombrowski spent a fortune on Chris Sale,
Evaldi,
Pierce, and Price. And Price, Sale, and Evaldi together have 14 wins. We know that the chances of them adding much more, Price won't add any, probably. Sale won't add any, and maybe Evaldi, who's got one win for $17 million. That might be a record in sports, most money paid per win. So that's how it goes. Just because a player is getting a big salary doesn't guarantee anything. It's the old money can't play story.
Yeah, but it had to be something else, Ron. It can't be just that. It had to be, from what I heard, that Henry and him didn't get along, which is crazy.
Well, Henry supposedly was chums with Dombrowski in the past, and apparently Dombrowski's inner circle is Frank Wren and Tony La Russa. So most of baseball operations, the guys like Romero and Raquel Ferreira, who's now the highest ranking woman in Major League Baseball, they're frozen out because Dombrowski stays upstairs. He's not buddy-buddy with the coach, with the players, with anybody. He's got his own little circle of trust, and everybody else is on the outs.
Well, that's not smart. I mean, you want to make sure that you're on the right page with Henry. I mean, that's ridiculous there. But you win a championship last year. You bring in Pierce, you bring in Evaldi, two big keys, reasons why you won the championship. And because one bad year where the pitching staff just broke down, you're firing the guy. I mean, to me, that's a little, champion one year and next year you're fired.
Well, I think that the thought is that they're going into a new phase. They're going to a rebuilding phase. They're going to do what the Yankees did. They're going to sell off players, get the payroll down, try to get way under the luxury tax. Today they're talking about, I kept hearing about Mookie Betts going to Atlanta. So I don't know if Betts has said that he wants to go to Atlanta. In The Athletic, Peter Gammons wrote that he thought one of the ways they could get Betts to consider negotiating is to make Raquel Ferreira the GM. I don't know exactly what their relationship is, that he must have some confidence in her. But right now, it would be easy to see both Betts and J.D. Martinez out by the end of the season.
Yeah, they both won't be out. They won't be out. And you know Martinez is going to play out his option because he's going to be looking for another 5-year contract.
Right.
Probably around $28 million a year. You know, the Red Sox will go after him. But the thing with Henry is, he came out and what did he say? We didn't want another Lester with Seal. We didn't want Seal leaving and then having him have 5 great years after that or whatever. So he was the main person behind signing him. It wasn't Dombrowski. He wanted Seal signed. The Evaldi signing, everybody said, guy has 2 major operations on his arm, and you're giving him $17 million a year for 4 years?
Right.
For 4 years. I mean, that was a bad signing. But, you know, I don't know if that came directly from Dombrowski or if Henry was part of that. But Henry, now he's blaming Dombrowski for something that he was part of. That's what gets me.
Well, if we just try to look ahead to next year, they have Eduardo Rodriguez, who's going to be pitching at a higher salary. Porcello will be presumably gone because there's no way they're going to give him $20 million. I mean, I don't know. Somebody will probably give him 10 because it's Major League Baseball. If you can walk around and breathe and we're a former Cy Young winner, then somebody will give you 10. But we don't know about Sale. And then beyond that,
Price is
another
case.
Question mark. So
I mean, he comes up with these different arm problems. You know, he's just a problem.
So you need at least 2 new starters. The question is, do you make Hernandez your closer, since he seems to be whether he has the temperament to be the closer, we don't know, but certainly he's got the stuff.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's real good.
I can't imagine anybody really enjoys facing him because he throws hard with that touch of wildness.
Well, it worked out for their bullpen. Their bullpen's one of the best in baseball.
Yeah, the
right now.
bullpen's settled
Even though they
down.
caused problems early on, and I mean, everybody was against because, again, Henry didn't want to pay the closer $14 million, and they got off. That was one of the reasons why they had the bad start.
Well, and
but the
Kimbrel's-
bullpen right now is real strong.
I mean, Kimbrel's been hurt. Kimbrel
Yeah.
hasn't pitched well. Joe Kelly hasn't pitched any different than he did when he's mediocre. His ERA is about 4.5, and he missed time with injuries. So it wasn't that they instead of signing Price, they could have got a guy like Ottavino for a couple million more. And
that
not
was a
Price, I
huge-
mean Pierce.
Yeah.
So that was a big mistake. Ottavino has been very good for the Yankees. And the Yankees, still have a great bullpen despite the fact that Betances is still working his way back.
Still working his way back.
Makes you wonder about some of these guys. I mean,
Severino's close to coming back, and Betances, they say, is close to coming back. I
did I
hope
see-
Stanton never comes back.
who somebody got a 60-game suspension who was on the Yankees, the guy who had the pine tar on his ear.
Castro?
No, I can't remember
Who's he
who
playing
it
with
was.
now?
Oh, I don't even know which team he's on. But,
Yeah, I heard that too. I forget his name.
But anyway, so the simple answer for the Red Sox is the pitching was never there this year. The first half of the year, the starters didn't go long enough. They wore out the bullpen. A guy like Barnes was pitching every day, and then by the time they were able to pull it together, it was way too late.
They lost the edge. It's unbelievable. That team lost the edge. With all that talent, that's amazing what happened to them this year. And I think Cora lost the edge too.
Well,
I think he's a big part of
They
it.
went into spring training, think they could coast through. We don't need a really long time in spring training to ramp up. We'll just, we played a lot of baseball, and we're going to rest players and bring them along slowly. They got off to a 3-8 start. Took them forever to get 10 games over 500, and there's still 9 games over 500 with a few weeks left in the season. So they just never played good enough baseball to be deserving of postseason. And if you want to look at it this week, they had Minnesota and the Yankees, and they've gone 2-4. So, they just haven't played well against good teams. And if you can't beat the good teams, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I always said it's never over till it's over, but it's, what are they, 8 behind in the loss column now?
It's pretty far. I'm not even looking at
I mean,
it
these
closely.
last 2 losses to the Yankees.
Around the league, I assumed that Mike Trout would have the highest wins above replacement ranking in baseball, but it's actually Cody Bellinger who's slightly ahead of him. Trout, if his career trajectory remains like this, he'll be the best performer on a team that never does anything. It's kind of too bad.
I mean, that lineup and the pitching staff, I don't know what happened out there. They thought they were getting stronger when they signed, is it Ohtani?
Right,
When
Ohtani.
they signed him, but you look at the lineup, other than those 2 and one other player, the rest of them can't hit.
And of course, they struggled over the news of Tyler Skaggs' death, and then it turned out that Skaggs had died from alcohol and drug excess, which, obviously, baseball is no different than the rest of society. That people make bad decisions, and it can end up costing
How
them.
about that young pitcher, Latin pitcher from Miami several years ago?
Oh, Fernandez.
And they found out they were all coked up.
They were on
and everything.
cocaine and driving around a speedboat in the
21
dark.
years old, they had everything to live for, and it was amazing.
Well, it's hard to avoid bad decisions. Now, the Red Sox, it's not like they don't have a good everyday lineup. Now, if Martinez goes, that's going to be a big task to
Then
replace him.
they'll do everything they can to sign Betts.
One would think they'd have to, because I don't know what, for 1 year, how much you're going to give. I mean, the only way you're going to give somebody or try to hold them up for Betts is if he agrees to sign a long-term deal with them. So again, I keep hearing the Braves. So I don't know if Betts has leaked out that he wants to play for Atlanta. Don't know.
Yeah, but you look at the Red Sox, I can't see them letting Martinez go. They're going to sign him because they know they need that big hitter in the lineup. If they let Martinez go, I mean, don't forget, he came after Ortiz retired the next
Right.
year. They had Ortiz, they had Ramirez for all those years. They had that big hitter in the middle of the lineup, sometimes two big hitters. Now they have Martinez. I can't see them letting him go. I think they're going to pay him. And then they may trade bets, get some real good pitching or some young players.
Well, there's going to be a lot of opportunities because at first base, clearly Moreland is done. So whether
What do you think of Chavez?
well, Chavis could be the player, could be Bobby Dalbec, who had a big year in the minors at second base. I mean, if you put Chavis at second, he's really not great defensively. He's not terrible, but he's not great.
And even Holt at second base, he makes the plays, but none of them are for Pedroia.
No, and
What a
Holt,
difference, and that's hurt them at second.
I think since Holt's not going to be an everyday player, I don't think he's looking for around $7 million at least.
I'd like to see him get it. He deserves it.
No, I think he'll get it, but I don't think he's going to get it on the Red Sox.
But didn't he get a 2-year deal last year,
No,
$5 million a year, or just 1 year?
he's won a 1-year deal, so I think he's likely to be gone. Bogarts and Devers hopefully will be fixtures for a long time.
Why would Holt go?
Money.
They're not going to give him $7 million?
I think that they're trying to get the payroll down.
I mean, someone like Holt, who's huge in the Jimmy Fund and all that.
Right.
I would.
And then, having watched Andrew Benintendi, seems like he took a step back this year. He hasn't really hit for power. He hasn't hit for average.
They've lost like the interest. It's unbelievable. You watch their games compared to last year. They just lost it, whatever it was, a hangover, whatever that is.
Right. So,
You never see that with the Patriots run.
well, it's the baseball obviously has all guaranteed contracts, and the NFL had more contracts at least are guaranteed in the NFL. But I think that if you show up. There's so many games in baseball. Nobody expects the players to be high intensity for every day.
But know what it is, too? They're not hungry like they were last year. They won it last year. You look at the difference. Like I told you, I watch a lot of the Yankees and Red Sox games. The Yankees are really hungry, even though I just think they don't have enough pitching, to beat Houston or whoever. If they play Minnesota or Oakland, they could have problems because they don't have that great starting pitching, unless Paxton and Hermain pitch well. But they're really hungry. They want to win every game they play. And you watch the Red Sox, it's like half the time they're in a coma.
Well, you look at the Yankees, you have Stanton, who must be making 26, 27, didn't play. Ellsbury, 23, he didn't play this
There's
season.
$50 million right
yeah,
there.
$50 million is doing nothing. And you get these other kids like Tuckman, who's been good. They just got a lot of young.
Andujar didn't play either.
Yeah.
Andujar lost almost the whole year.
Yeah, but it seems like
The rookie of the year.
these no-name players like Voit, Tuckman destroy the Red Sox.
Rosella, the third baseman.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, what a deal they made, though, Cashman. What a deal he made for Torres. I mean, that's unbelievable.
yeah. So I mean,
Chicago must be saying to themselves, what do we do? Well, they won the title with it.
Well, I guess the question from the Red Sox standpoint is, do they bring in some established name to be the general manager, or do they try to get some development guru like Mike Hazen back from, I can't remember if he's on Arizona or the
Get some young
Padres.
guy that knows Theo or has worked with Theo.
Well, hopefully John Henry's up in his box watching Moneyball right now and looking for one of those young, hungry
Is
guys.
Bean still the general manager?
I think he's still the GM out there. Dee Podesta, who was the assistant GM, who in the movie was portrayed by the short, dumpy guy, he's the player director at the Cleveland Browns now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, so he's the personnel guy for the Browns. And again, he was trying to use the same Moneyball principles, which Cleveland's got talent, but I don't know what happened yesterday. I don't know where I am on Baker Mayfield, whether it's buy or sell.
I don't like him. I would sell him in a minute.
Do you think it's?
I just don't like him as a person.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not an
He's
ability.
arrogant.
Right. It's not an ability issue. It's a personality
You hear him
issue.
after the game when he said, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I just care about what we think in here, and we're going to be, we're going to get it together and all that. But so many times he said, I don't care what other people think, meaning the fans. I don't care about the house. I mean, that's stupid. A young guy like him.
Well, I mean, you're an entertainer, and the fans are your ultimate employers. So if you get on the wrong side of the fans, and fans can be pretty fickle. I mean, I don't think we have to worry about, it's not like, what could Brady do to get on the wrong side of the fans? I just don't see much of anything.
He always says the right thing.
It was interesting watching the pregame, part of the pregame show. You have Ted Johnson, who looks like somebody took a block of granite and chiseled it away. And then you have Matt Castle, who looks like he belongs in Hollywood. I mean...
It's good having him, though.
Yeah, no. But here's a guy who had pretty mediocre NFL career, right, outside of the Patriots, but it looks like he's landed on his feet.
Well, he made so much money when he signed $16 million a year he was getting for 6 years or something.
So, basically these are retirement jobs.
And he never started in college.
Yeah, so these are retirement jobs for these guys where they can go.
Johnson's real good, though.
He is very knowledgeable.
He's really good. I like when he knocks Belichick.
Well,
he doesn't like Belichick, I'll tell you.
The guy in the booth on Sunday Night Football who absolutely can't stand the Patriots is Chris Sims.
Oh, yeah, I know.
He said last year, he said Brady's over the hill. Last night he picked the Steelers. It's just, he's an ultimate contrarian. He just doesn't like anything about Boston.
Brady probably didn't pay attention to him when he was here.
Maybe.
That's got to be the reason.
My guess is that Brady won't even learn your name until you're on the team for 2 months.
What'd they say today on with Smith and what's his name? Did he say Brady's close to being over the hill again?
Oh, I didn't see that. Well,
I know they knocked the Patriots for signing Brown.
Well, it's going to take a while. They're going to limit. Brown is a complete receiver. It's not like he's a run flies and slants and some posts like Gordon. He doesn't run every single route. But Gordon doesn't. But Brown runs them all. He gets a lot of yards after the catch. He's tough. He's fast.
Oh, the fans are going to love him.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Watch when he's out there making the big plays.
Well, remember a few years ago when they signed Adalius Thomas, and then there was like two inches.
That was a bad sign.
2 inches of snow, and he couldn't make it to practice on time. So, it's sure there's a lot of ways it can go wrong, but there's a lot of ways it can go right too. And by and large, the more talent you have, the bigger margin of error you have. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today we're fortunate to have Bill Donovan here for our sports conversation. We're equally fortunate that the baseball season is coming to an end and football season. So we have plenty to talk about.
It's a happy time for Yankee fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, the Yankees not only are in first place, but they
knocking the Red Sox out.
Knocked the Red Sox general manager out of the box seats.
The coach should have went with him.
Oh, anyway, welcome, Bill.
Nice
Patriots hardly been in the news at all, opening up on Sunday Night Football with a 33-3 thrashing of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and all the sports TV personalities can talk about is how Antonio Brown's going to ruin the team. I'm not sure it's that simple.
No, there's so many ways to look at this about Antonio Brown. It's a big scheme by Belichick, like he held a gun to Gruden's head to release him. And I think he signed a contract after the trade to Oakland, right? He signed a contract to stay there. So once things started falling apart there, once he called threatened Mayock and called him a slur, I think right then Rosenhaus kind of knew that the wheels were falling off real fast. And I think that's when a lot of teams around the league started paying attention to whether thinking he might be available. So it wasn't just like Bell, it wasn't just the Pats, I think, that got in touch with Rosenhaus after he was released. I think it was a bunch of teams.
Well, presumably he knows that he has to rebuild his value. How do you rebuild your value? Play with a good quarterback. In the National Football League, there are not so many good quarterbacks. Now, we'll see. Maybe he'll be unhappy because he feels like he's not getting enough targets, or maybe he'll be a perfect citizen and cash in again next year.
Well, he knew that Belichick wanted him when they were looking to trade him. The Patriots, but you knew Pittsburgh wasn't going to trade him to the Patriots.
Supposedly the Patriots offered a first-round draft choice last year, and Steelers wouldn't deal with them. As we know, teams do trade in their own division. The Patriots traded Bledsoe to Buffalo because they said, we can beat him, doesn't matter.
Look, you can't pass up an opportunity for an elite player like Antonio Brown. On the field, he's what, top 2 or 3 in the league? He didn't beat his wife. He didn't break his kid's arm. He's a drama queen extraordinaire. But when guys like that become available, he'd be crazy not to take a shot with him. Why not?
What does Belichick always say when they ask him a question? Why'd you do this?
I do what's
Same
best for the
answer.
football team.
Yeah, I do. And what's best for the football team is they sign him.
Right. Now the question is, he's notorious for not being quiet behind the scenes, and he's notorious for being late. So can he adjust his personality? Or is Tom Brady going to have to put him up in his house and drive him to practice every day?
Yeah, to me, this is, everybody wants to give Mike Tomlin credit for, this is what he had to deal with. Well, this is what he created. How long do you think this has been going on where he's been late for practice and he's been told it was okay? And that's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen. If he comes here now and really blows this, like you said, reestablish himself, if he comes here now and reacts the same way that he did in Oakland, you're going to have a smaller and smaller amount of teams that are going to be willing to give him another shot. It's not like he's 25 years old. He is what, 31 years old, 32 years old? So I think he's got to mind his P's and Q's here. If not, then he's going to be pretty close to the end.
If he helps them go 19-0, my prediction before they got him is that they're going to go 14-2, maybe 15. Slight chance they could go undefeated. And just knowing their defense and the offense, it was ridiculous people saying the offense isn't going to be good, the defense is going to carry them. With Brady quarterbacking, Are you kidding me? They're always good. He's the smartest player to ever play the game of football. He had good weapons. Now he has great weapons. And as a Patriot fan, I'm happy they got him. If it doesn't work out, he goes. But he could. What if they win the Super Bowl? It's all about winning the Super Bowl.
It's all about winning.
Now they were favorites, slight favorites over Kansas City. Now they're heavy favorites over Kansas City to win it. When they're going up, you're playing Kansas City, right? And you beat them during the season, and you get the #1 seed, and he has a big game, and then you go into the playoffs, and that offense is playing great, and the defense is playing great. This could be. I think it's. Before they got him, I thought they were one of the best Patriot teams, maybe the third best that they've had since 2001. Now you could say if things work out with Gordon, who has Edelman, Gordon, and Brown now, and then you have Dorsett as the 4th receiver, and you have Harris coming back in the 9th week. And then you got all those good running backs. I'm happy they got him. He's there, he's free there to sign.
Didn't cost him any players, didn't cost him any draft picks.
Gordon didn't cost him a player either.
No.
That's amazing. You got 2 of the better receivers in football. It didn't cost you anything.
Nothing.
Well, what did Belichick study at Wesleyan? Economics, the allocation of scarce resources.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to pay anything to get something, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to break even at least on the deal.
I think the only thing right now is, you were saying a little bit early before you went on, Cannon got hurt last night. We don't know how bad that. History shows with this team that if the offensive line stays strong and they can keep him upright, Brady will pick you apart, even when you have lesser wide receivers. Because the games where they've gotten beat, when they lost to Denver in the AFC Championship game, their offensive line got destroyed. The 2 losses to the Giants D-line overpowered the Patriots O-line and got in Brady's face almost the whole game. You give him time, like almost any quarterback, especially Brady, you give him an extra half a second or a second, somebody's going to pop open and he's going to get them the ball.
What people don't understand, that this is the best you're going to see in Brady. And all the great years he's had before this year, because he's so much smarter now. He even said that. He says, every year I get smarter and smarter. I can just, when I look out there, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Now with these receivers, this could be when throwing 23 touchdown passes to Moss, that was amazing that year. But this year here.
We're always going to find problems. One of the problems I had is, why are they dropping Brady back in the 4th quarter, up 30, just exposing him to injury?
I don't get that.
Put the kid in, let him hand off. Don't don't get silly injuries.
I always think of Vinny Testaverde,
Well, I know
10,
why
12 years
Bill-
ago,
I
right?
know-
When he went back, he just dropped back to pass. He tore his Achilles. I mean, why are you risking anything
But
like
I know
that?
why Belichick did that. I was thinking with 4 minutes, why don't you just bring him in and just run the ball and kill the clock? But he didn't want Pittsburgh scoring a touchdown.
Well,
He called that timeout with what, 7 seconds
Six.
left? 6 seconds left. He called a timeout because he didn't want them scoring. He dropped them back into the end zone.
Right. Well, and people will say, and I thought first, well, why is he doing that? He's just getting in their face. Well, they're trying to work the ball down the field. They're not just taking a knee. If they don't want to score, then the Patriots would just, defend nothing. But they're trying to score. The Patriots are still trying to play defense, and they got to work on their prevent defense that they gave up the touchdown against Miami last year.
oh, yeah.
Oh, why don't they play Miami next week?
So the line's already 14.5.
I mean, Miami, forget about it. I mean, hey, like I said, the reason why they beat Seattle in the Super Bowl was because, no, not Seattle, Atlanta, was because of the game they lost to Seattle during the year, at the end of the year, when they had 5 chances of getting in from inside the 5, and they couldn't get in. And they worked on those short yardage situations down at the goal line, and they did. That play to Amendola
Yep.
was amazing. The play to White, the snap to White.
Well, we'll get the negatives out of the way. There weren't a lot of negatives. Sony Michel didn't get anything. On the other hand, most of the plays they ran him, there wasn't any blocking either.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh's got a good line. Pittsburgh's going to have good linebackers. But when you're Brady and you know what to do, calling plays there, once they start getting positive yardage, the defense starts feeling it. They start thinking, hey,
No doubt.
And the
what
other
are we going
thing,
to do now?
the other thing was Bailey didn't show much punting. He had
Well, the first punt was a great one.
the first one, then he had 2 lousy ones. Unless they were trying to, maybe Belichick said, kick it out of bounds so they can't return it or something. The strange decision of the day, the Patriots are up 20-0, and Pittsburgh goes for a field goal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a 3-score game, and it's still a 3-score game.
That was amazing. Then if they don't get it, they got the Patriots hemmed in.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know well, everybody was knocking them, what's his name anyway, Pittsburgh. They just don't make good adjustments. But getting back, to the way they move their offense, you've got to keep teams off balance because you don't have Andrews now, and if you don't have Cannon, you got to keep the defense off balance because if you try to just run and then open up your passing game, which everybody thought was going to happen this year, now it's going to switch. They're going to go with the passing game, with the receivers they have,
Well,
and they're going to open up their ground game.
Speaking of not having Andrews, what were those snaps from center?
Oh,
They were
yeah.
just like little bloopers.
But
back.
you know what? If you ask Brady, and I said this in work today, I said, just think, Brady's there. The little flutters are coming to him. That gives him a chance to pick up the defense right away. As the ball's coming to him, he can, except now if it's a bullet snap, like they are, and he's concentrating on the ball, he's not concentrating on the line. But with those snaps, and he snaps them like a little bloop snap, so when he's waiting for it, he can just quickly see what the defense is doing.
He said today on the radio, too, those snaps didn't bother him, but
No, I think they helped him in a way. Just think of that. I
Well,
always look into stuff like that, Ron.
No, it's not crazy. We work on drills for trying to shoot the basketball better, where a person has to dribble the ball behind their back, turn and catch and shoot, but they have to pick up the rim as soon as possible to get. If you were playing darts, you just wouldn't turn around and whip it at the dartboard. You have to have a target. So maybe there's a method to the madness.
But, like Brady didn't say anything to him. I think Brady was comfortable with it.
Well, the one player who, obviously Brady's the most indispensable player. The other player who's incredibly underrated is White. No matter he's got flypaper for hands. No matter where you throw it, he catches
steady.
it.
He's just always
They
steady.
got great. They got really good backs, too.
They do. And even when Michelle wasn't running the ball, the way they run their short passing game, it's almost like a running game.
Well, Burkhead is tremendous when he's actually healthy, but
Doesn't he explode?
It's
Yes.
so rare.
He's a good player.
But
When he sees a first down, he's like
yeah.
Edelman. He
He is.
explodes through the
He's
first.
tough, too. He's
but
not afraid of the contact.
But he's not durable. He
He's
gets
not
hurt
durable.
all the
That's
time.
why he's good on this team, because they have the running. They have Harris, too.
Well, Harris,
He didn't dress. But Harris is real good. He's got real good hands. You watch him this year when someone goes down. He'll be a
Right.
huge plus.
So they didn't have Harrison. Obviously, they didn't have Van Noy, who, I don't know anything about the Van Noy family, so I naturally looked that up. His wife is a Miss Utah. So
Did she have the baby?
She did,
I don't
yeah.
know. She did?
They-
Okay.
Last night, yeah, he posted it today.
so
But what's
anyway.
great about the running backs is you have White, you have Burkhead, Damian Harris, who's inactive, you have Michelle. You don't have to use one for 40 or 50 plays. You can rotate 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
So that keeps, obviously, the kind of like Amendola when they had him. He's not taking as many hits because you're rotating, keeping him fresh,
It's
too.
like people are saying, oh, you should have Antonio Brown return kickoffs. Yeah, sure, so we can get him
Oh, I
hurt.
like the gunner.
Yeah. I was hoping they weren't going to release
I
him
love
to make
him.
room. Thank God they
He's
didn't.
going to be another Edelman.
He's
You
tough.
watch.
Tough kid.
He's young now. He's really good. I think he's going to be a terrific football player.
Yeah.
I believe in the time to come, he's going to be a good receiver too. But they have plenty of them.
Well, everything
Yeah.
broke their way last night. Gordon caught one when he got creamed, and then
So then what's his name?
Myers.
Jacoby Myers
same
got
thing.
popped pretty good, too.
So usually Brady doesn't throw people into trouble, but he kind of was throwing a few people into trouble last night.
The only thing that I feel bad for Dorsett with this Brown signing, because I think Dorsett could be a real good 50 to 60 receptions.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is you can rely on injuries because that's the nature of the game,
Yeah.
and we can't know whether Gordon will, fall off the wagon. What'll happen with Brown? You can never have too many good players because somebody are going to get hurt because that's
And if
the
they
nature.
don't, N'Keal Harry might not even play this year. They might not even activate him when he comes back. If all your
And
your
he's
receivers stay
talented.
healthy,
And he's talented too.
he is talented.
Now-
He might not even get on the field.
If you could only say your top 3 players last night, who do you pick? Now, it's not that easy because it's easy to pick 3 offensive players and totally ignore what the
Well,
defense
Brady
did.
number 1.
I think Dorsett had a great game. Philip Dorsett, what do you have, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns?
Dorsett and Bentley.
2 touchdowns?
Maybe Bentley's the 3rd or 4th best. Bentley had a heck of a game.
I thought Simon
Hightower.
played well, too.
Yeah, Hightower's all over the place.
Oh, and Gilmore. There's so many
There-
players.
There were, Chung had a
Oh,
really strong
I know
game.
what you're going to say.
No, I don't know.
No, I know what you're going to say. I thought the guy, which we knew was going to be real good, people were worried about him because he was injured last year. Wynn had a
Oh,
terrific game.
Yeah, he was very good.
Another thing we were talking about with Wynn during the exhibition games, he is strong on his legs and
Yeah.
he's wide. But the thing is, he moves really quick. He goes side to side. He can move quick. He's going to be
As
unbelievable.
a tackle, you have to be able to move quick.
He's not tall and lanky with the
Yeah.
long arms,
Yeah.
but he's got more than the other guys had. He's got those strong legs, and he moves laterally really good.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat him. A speed rusher. They had that number 48 trying to beat him a number of times, and they showed him
Couldn't
moving
get
his
around him.
feet. I think he's going to be terrific, Wynn. But you got to hope that the injuries could
Well,
kill you.
right.
The offense, the
You'll
O-line,
always have
that's
to.
the key to me every year with the Patriots, the offensive line.
Yeah, you got to keep Brady upright at
No
all
doubt.
costs, and that should mean even if you have better receivers, you still have to mix it up with enough running plays to keep the pressure off of Brady.
And
You
look what they did last night, and the tight end wasn't even a factor. I think they throw the ball once to Izzo, maybe
Yeah, he was
once.
a factor one
But-
time. He took a hold.
He got
Or
the hold.
offensive pass interference.
That was a
excuse me.
stupid one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah,
But I
it
mean,
was
the
just-
tight end position wasn't even a factor
But know
in the
what
offense.
know what they were saying before the game, that the tight ends just got to get in the way of the linebackers or
Yeah,
whatever. Or
chip him on the way out.
But
or-
that's what he was doing. If you watched him, he'd always be there. You'd have to go around them, or he'd make the block.
Yeah, he's not even that big, though. I mean, you notice he's not even that big. It didn't look to me like he's
Well,
that
if you
big.
just run out 5 yards and turn and face Brady and let somebody else run your defender, it's like basketball. Like you always talk, use the refs, use the opponents, whatever, for picks.
But I'll tell you, though, they played an unbelievable game. That was a great game to watch as a fan.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't mention the coaching, really. So, I mean, Tomlin got badly outcoached. And obviously, whoever the defensive coordinator was, or the de facto coordinator, whether it's Mayo, whatever assist that Steve Belichick has. I mean, I don't know if Belichick's hoping to stay around long enough that his son can be the coach.
Well, they talked to McCourty after the game, and he said, what's really good about the defense is that the coaches and the players work really well together, and the coaches listen to the players. You got to think, McCourty, Chung, and those guys, Hightower, they've been around a long time, and they know the game. And even McCourty's brother, Jason, and Harmon, they
Well,
all know the game really
Another guy we didn't mention who was in on a bunch of plays was Jonathan Jones. He was all over people. without
What's
fouling.
his name? Is it Collinsworth?
Yeah.
He loves Chung and them. He loves Chung. He loves Harmon. He loves that whole defense when you hear him talk.
Well, the backup players like J.C. Jackson, really good player. I mean, he was, and presumably if McCourty's retire, then
And Williams didn't even play.
no, he was inactive. So
You know, Brooks played a little. What's his name? Is it Brooks? The cornerback.
oh yeah, Terrence Brooks, the
I
safety.
think the key to the first half, too, if you talk about defensively, they shut Connor down. The running back didn't do anything in the first half. Other than one play, I think there was a hold on Gilmore on Schuster. He pretty much shut him down in the first half. So they shut down the running game. They shut down their top receiver. Washington got loose for a couple.
Yeah.
But you shut down their best running back, their best wide receiver. I mean,
Well, they ran
You
that
had nowhere to go with the ball after that.
They ran the shallow cross early to the running back, but my guess is that with Hightower back there, you have too many people running shallow across the middle.
Yeah.
He's gonna get the McGinnis treatment.
Collins played really well. I thought, but Bentley, you could see Bentley. He made a number of tackles across the middle on passes. He was right there.
Right. Well, there was the one play they featured Hightower that they showed the play flowing one way,
Yeah,
and then
Hightower.
Hightower's totally
Pulling
ignoring.
guard, yeah.
So it was really well done as far as the camera work and the analysis.
I tell you the other guy, did you guys watch the Do Your Job videos that was on the NFL Network the
No.
other day? Do Your Job in the America's game. The guy really goes, didn't really notice him much last night, but Devlin as a fullback. Some of the, watch that Do Your
He's
Job if you get a chance to see it.
He played a lot
It's
early on.
unbelievable. He just
things we
crushes
should-
people.
We should talk about around the NFL. The Cleveland hype machine.
Oh,
Certainly.
I'm glad. I can't stand him.
So Mayfield, of all the Patriots Belichick coaching tree, the one who looks most poised for success might be Vrabel.
Vrabel.
yes.
You know, O'Brien's still got a lot of talent, so I wouldn't sell him short.
Well, Vrabel, they respect him. He played. He was tough. Great all-around linebacker.
And Jimmy G had a decent day for San Francisco.
Yeah, 170 yards, 190 yards.
Yeah, his
I don't
rate-
think Patricia's going to make the season. I really don't. I don't think he's going to last
Well,
the
they
season.
blew that. They tied, but
And the two darlings of yesterday, Patrick Mahomes, except for his, what was the blind pass that he threw to Kelsey? He's looking, the no-look pass, he's looking over here and he throws the ball out of bounds. Kelsey's open by 10 yards.
Yeah.
that's going to be a great battle again. But the game I'm looking forward to is when they play Dallas comes here. I'm looking forward
Is
to
that a prime
game.
time? Is that a Sunday night game
Oh,
or a Monday
it'll
night?
be a
It should
prime
be, I
time.
would
Well, the
think.
Dallas hype machine's already out there too. So, but the NFL shouldn't be boring. Oh, one more play I want to mention from the Patriots game. The not noticed play. Winovich drew a holding penalty. He
I was
kinda
gonna mention that
He
a
went
little
really low and fast, and
Yeah.
Villanueva tried to sit on him, but grabbed him.
They got a good, but Pittsburgh has a very good defensive line. They have a very good offensive line.
Right. So if the Patriots can hold up health-wise, could be a special year. We'll be right back. The 2019 version of the Melrose Red Raiders opens up this week at Malden. It'll be interesting to see how they do. They're predicted to be an upper division team. I think Danny Ventura had favorable reviews for them in the Herald. You got to play the games on the field. As far as volleyball goes, they're off to an interesting start. They had terrific preseason competing against some of the best teams in Massachusetts, and they were able to at least play even with all of them, including a powerful Concord team, which has a couple of really big girls in the middle. And they were able to beat Newton North, who's last year's Division I state champion. In their opening game against Arlington, I would say they didn't play their best volleyball, with some inconsistency in the third and even into the fourth set when Arlington had a chance to take them to 5 sets, but Arlington collapsed at the end. I think sometimes it does make a difference. It said Melrose on the locals' jersey, and Arlington pretty much choked away the last 6 points. And then Melrose went out to Frontier in South Deerfield, Massachusetts, which is a hall. And what can you say about Frontier? They've won the Western Division III championship the last 14 years in a row.
Wow.
And won 9 state championships. So it's not like they're an unknown product, and Melrose went out there and swept them. So I'm sure that Coach Shelley's trying to put together the lineup. Because you're playing the first game or the second game doesn't guarantee anything going forward. Scott's been relentless through the years in searching for the best combinations of players. And it's tough because he has 16 players on the team. And when you have 16 players for 6 spots, with some rotational spots, that makes it an intensely competitive situation. And especially when you have some talented young players, you have the potential to create friction or disillusion because everybody wants playing time because they enjoy playing.
Yeah, 16 players. That's the most he's ever had, right?
I'm sure it is. And he has 7 seniors, so he knows they're all, they won't be back. They age out.
Who's playing front and back? Well, you got the liberos playing the whole game, right?
Okay, so Nicole Abbott, who was named a libero on the all-state team last year, she's got a position. You have Mary Kate Mahoney's, who's a strong player, and Emma Randolph, who plays in the middle, rotates into the back as well as, and Erin Torpy is a really solid defender as well. So those are the 4 principal defenders in the back.
And they all play the front too?
Well, Emma is the starting middle. Well, Emma was moved outside this year, and starting in the middle, you have Emily Hudson, who's a junior, very tall, experienced player, and a freshman, Chloe Gentili, who, she's young, but she's got really good size. She's probably 5'10" and a half. She's an exceptional athlete, and she's got a lot of experience. She's been playing the national circuit the past year, played in Atlanta, played in Phoenix. I think she has the potential to be one of the top hitters in Melrose volleyball annals over the course of the 4 years. Is she there yet? No, she's not there yet. She's going to pick up more experience, but you get experience by playing. But you have a lot of other competitive players who are looking for time. So
that's tough. When you have 4 girls playing front and back,
right, and
that's tough to get everybody. You're not getting. What are you getting? 8 players
right,
in?
And as far as other hitters, you have Claire Albuja, who had a good year last year as a senior, and Grace Sanderson, who is a very long junior who's exceptionally tall and can really hit. So,
who's the girl that played with Chloe on the national team?
Oh, Elena Sukas is another strong player, a sophomore who.
He's got talent, huh?
Right. I think this, among the top 6 hitters, I think this could be the best overall hitting strength for 6 players. Now, realistically, you need 3 really strong hitters. They returned players who'd had over 600 kills for this season. And if you're Coach Shelley and you have the experience in the front and the back and young players coming along, I haven't specifically talked to him, but he's trying to win a state championship every year. They've been to the finals 4 times in the last 15 or so years. So that's where their goal is.
Well, it looks good this year because Division II.
It's not super strong.
No, Linfield's probably the one team, right?
Right, Linfield's good. In Division I, I'm hearing that Reading is really strong, much stronger.
Oh, they're Division I.
They're in 1.
Oh.
So Melrose has their home opener tomorrow against Woburn. Woburn is exceptionally tall. I saw some film on the maxpreps.com site. Some of the teams have video linked, and Woburn has some really strong, really tall players who they look a little inexperienced, but they've got tremendous size.
It looks like Melrose, once the season gets, after 4 or 5 matches, they're going to really be tough.
Yeah, I think that the key to them isn't talent, it isn't motivation, it's where they sort out as far as the mental toughness goes. And mental toughness is a hard thing to teach. Some of it's experience, some of it is innate, how your mindset and construction is. You have young players like Hannah Brickley when she played a lot as a freshman and was an outstanding player for 4 years, really. And what would you say about Hannah? Tremendous physical skills, but mentally exceptionally tough.
Victoria too, Crover. I remember when she was a freshman.
Right. Victoria's graduating class was I think the only graduating class in the last 16 years that didn't have a sectional title, and it wasn't because of Victoria. Victoria was a phenomenal leader, phenomenal player, and just sometimes it just doesn't work out because of injuries or
So it looks
something
really
strange.
good for them this year.
I think so.
And then when they lose all these seniors after this year, they're going to be strong again.
Well, they had the Globe had 5 Middlesex League teams ranked in the top 20, and that didn't include Woburn.
What was Melrose, like third?
They had Melrose first among the
No, in the
Middlesex.
state.
Oh, in the state, they didn't really. They had them 10th.
In the state?
And there's a site, Mass High School Girls Volleyball, that had Melrose ranked 1 preseason. Well, preseason rankings, I don't know what that means. And I have no idea who actually does the rankings. So I think it's not like I've seen Danvers play this year. We know they've been very good over time.
But you're telling me about the Allenton match, right?
Mm-hmm.
After winning those first 2 sets big, he must have put in a lot of
No, it wasn't a substitution thing. It just
wasn't?
No, Melrose just momentum is so big in volleyball. They lost momentum, and I think they lost concentration because solid players made rookie mistakes.
Well, that makes you stronger, though, as a team.
Well, I'm sure that
You go through those things, and you're just going to be stronger.
I'm sure that Coach Shelley went, behind closed doors and told players, you got to step it up, or else. There's been many players throughout Melrose volleyball history who had their positions assumed by a younger player who brought more to the table for whatever reason. So, and I think that a lot of times, I think Coach Shelley is able to make decisions quickly off of limited information about who he anticipates is going to come along in the program. And he's been right. I mean, you have player selection, player development, and team development that all go hand in hand. And, a lot of the best athletes go to volleyball.
Like, I know for years when I was really following them, for probably 10 years, and I used to think, boy, he really loves this one, to myself. And I was surprised. And then I watched that player develop, and I said, wow. I mean, of course he knows the game way better than I do, but really, because I saw that person in basketball, and then I'm saying, well, I know this person was mentally tough enough to be good at basketball, but how's she going to get there in volleyball? And a lot of them get there.
Right. You see, like when I went, okay, it's crazy. I drove to Medway to watch them play these 5 or 6 scrimmages against other top teams. So it's a 50-mile ride. So it's a little bit of a time investment, plus sitting there for hours and hours. So they play Concord Carlisle, who has 2 massive girls in the middle, both well over 6 feet tall, and they're not skinny volleyball players. They're clearly basketball players playing volleyball. And if you look back athletically at the players Melrose once had versus who are now playing, most of the time the volleyball teams looked like basketball players playing volleyball, big, strong, muscular girls, including my own girls. And now you see long, lean, volleyball-looking athletes more of the time. Not to say that there aren't different types of body types. It's like if you went to a girls' softball game, you're going to see a very different type of athlete across the board than you are in, soccer. You see these small, muscular girls that can really run. Soccer and in softball, you see these girls with thick arms and thick legs who are strong and can drive the ball. People sort themselves out to the sport that suits them.
Yeah, because I remember your daughters. Your daughters are so much smaller now than they were when they were playing in high school.
Yeah. My daughter Karen is 25 pounds lighter now than she was in high school when she was playing sports, since she's not lifting weights and doing all the things that they did.
Well, what about the soccer teams? You hear anything about them?
I think that at the youth levels, I know they win these Commissioners' Cups a lot, but I think when they get to high school, some of these other programs, Lexington, Winchester, Belmont, Arlington, Stoneham. When we were in Arlington the other day watching the volleyball game, Arlington has 4 or 5 soccer fields. There's fields everywhere with kids playing.
Yeah.
So I think the development opportunities just must be greater in some of these other towns.
But all the Melrose youth teams are good in soccer.
I
It's
know.
weird.
Well, I don't know how whether they play in AAU type soccer in other towns that are stronger coaching, how it really works.
Well, coaching's huge in high school sports. It's real. You can see it in the football program, the
Yeah.
volleyball.
As far as basketball coaching goes, I think there's some things that we do maybe too much and some things we do too little. One area that I think we could do a better job on, or I could do a better job on, is film study. And it's hard, you're asking a lot if you are trying to get people to come together during their time that they could be spending with their family or studies is really hard. So you can send emails or collections of emails linked to different films if a player is really interested to try to learn more about the game. Because so much of the game is mental, the more you understand about the decision-making process. I mean, how much do you know about basketball now relative to when you were playing high school basketball? You probably know 10 times as much.
Yeah.
But when you're playing, you think you know a lot, but then you realize you don't know nearly as much as you thought you knew.
Yeah, you watch, like I said, this summer when I was coaching the high school team, it's how much time is each player going to give? Because I really believe, and I know I said this on a couple of shows when we had it, where the girls ended up when we were done with the league in Woburn, if they had one more league where there was 10 more games, this team, I felt like I told Coach Hirschfeld, I says, I was worried they were going to win 3 or 4 games this year, losing all the players they lost and with no experience. And then as the year went on, the summer went on, I says, well, they're definitely going to make the tournament. This group's going to make the tournament. And then as we went on even further, I said, geez, they can win 14, 15 games, this group. But then it ends. And where they were getting to, and I tried to let the girls know, I said, I don't know if you understand how much you've improved, and you just need to stick together a little longer and keep working at it, and you can get there. Well, it ends. So there goes the basketball. Some of them are playing AAU, but they're not playing as a group anymore. So the improvement just stopped right there. On our last game, it's over. You're not going to see these girls probably. Some of them maybe in the fall. Some of them not until basketball starts again. So what do you have there? You're not taking advantage of all your seasons, but they have other sports run. So what do you do there?
Right. You want kids to. There's advantage health-wise because the injury rates are really high in players who play single sport athletes. I think we looked before during a previous NFL draft. Of the whole draft class, there were only 5 kids that weren't playing other sports. I mean, obviously, if you're drafted by the NFL, you're a great athlete. I mean, even if you're a punter, you're probably a great athlete.
Yeah.
And naturally, these athletes are running track or they're playing basketball or something else. And you want players to get that experience. And there's competition, there's teamwork, there's a lot of things to be said for working with different coaches, getting different opinions. Like, I have a player who plays a lot for Ted Cottrell. And when I was talking to her at a workout the other day, I said, you probably don't know how accomplished Ted was as a basketball player. He played professionally, and he also played for John Calipari at UMass when they went to the Final Four. So here in our community, we have somebody who is a wonderful basketball resource, far more knowledgeable about coaching and playing at high levels than I am.
Real good guy, too.
Oh, a terrific guy. But I mean, exceptional teacher. His teams are always excellent. And
never yells.
No. And I bet anybody who plays for him said they have a lot of fun, too. So, because he'll have music going sometimes during practice. I mean, he just does a really wonderful job. And so if somebody said to me, if your kid has a chance to play for Ted, I'd say, why wouldn't you want that? I mean, because he brings another dimension to the experience.
But you know what else you see too? Why is that coach from Braintree, the girls team, coaching the Norwich boys now? Her program is unbelievable. I know what a program is. Every season they're doing something. You know, even if they're playing another sport, she makes sure that they're doing something, they're doing it the right way. I mean, I look at the Melrose football program. You know, they work in the off season. They're in the weight room. They're working on weights. They're getting bigger and stronger. They're watching films. You know, the coaches that really take it really serious. I mean, I look at it like I got a little down this summer coaching the high school team because I'm seeing where they can get to, and it's just no time to do it because there's so many other things they're doing.
Right, and you have to, as I was saying to one of my players, you have to take each of your own workouts competitively. So if we do a drill where you go from elbow to elbow shooting the ball, you have to count how many you make. And the idea is, you know, yesterday I said you have to make at least 6. So she made 6, which was good on the first try. But if you look at somebody like from Andover, Nicole Boudreau, she could sit at the elbow and drain 15 in a row. I mean, because I've seen Andover warm up and seen those players do that. They make 15 in a row, and you just don't come out and do that. You do that because you worked at it, you were competitive. You said I got to make 15 from the elbow in 40 seconds or whatever. So with a rebounder. So playing a lot of one-on-one, working on your skills, shooting, which is a profoundly perishable skill. You have to work on those things year round, even if you're playing soccer or softball or whatever. I've enjoyed being with you tonight. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph LaBella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.